too surprising, whereas it's kind of a sentinel-less composition on the opposing side to get that double initiator with EU being on his trusty Sova, which honestly, he's one of the best Sovas in North America, period, not just this league.
Yeah, and I mean, when we look at the changes, I wonder if this is a change specifically to try and deal with this disguise team that does like to run down the clock. Now you have more tools to do so, right? John Cutie no longer on that Killjoy. In EU, we already saw what he did on the Fade. Obviously, just as proficient here on the Sova, but a really interesting change here from M80 coming into week 4 as they start on the defense, and we know that their defense typically looks the same way their attack does. It's aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
Here out towards A main. Exalt's gonna be the first one up. Unfortunately, the first one to fall. And this is M80 just starting things off the M80 way. As EU will grab an orb and, well, maybe hunt for more. Fortunately, Zip trades it back, but it's only Zip and Clear here in the pistol.
Yeah, Koala Noob is literally the personification of the tip of the spear comment, right? Like, this man is always going after first duels. He does have the highest first bloods per round in the league. And I think it's also because he's well supported. Like, he has that faith that people have his back. Like, right there, you saw him able to dash out, and EU's able to follow up and get a third frag before Koala goes down. So, just a great little combination of jiggle peeking there from M80's dynamic duo on this A main position, which is still being well maintained right now. Disguise keep wanting to fight for it, though. They're trying to play with the Nebula, but Clear just gets spammed hard.
Yeah, M80 refusing to give this one up. Clear does collect the spike, but pays for it with his life, and it was only Koala to fall here in the pistol as M80 up to a good start.
Yeah, just exactly the way M80 wants to do it. You'll see that quite often. They are a team that does like to use their initiation utility to really try to challenge for this orb over at the long A side and kind of just like have faith in other team members to hold B a little bit more solo or be a little bit more focused on the B link itself. So, again, you might see that a couple of times throughout the game, whereas, of course, now M80 going to be able to weapon up here a little bit. Full save for the most part here for DSG. Maybe just spending money on utility, the one sheriff, that's it.
Okay. All right, EU. Guardian in hand, looking for some spam. Unfortunately, did not get it. Recon Bolt dealt with. And the orb retrieved. DSG also doing things the DSG way, playing slow, looking to play the entirety of the map. But look at that Viper wall on defense, right? Immediately taking away that space out towards B. And I'm wondering how that's going to affect DSG. Maybe not here in their anti-eco, but...
Well, what it does is it allows M80 to just be way more flexible now with rotations. So like the fact that Quad Noob is this deep with this much information really lets them just like reinforce the speed link area, as well as have 3 men playing on that A side and, you know, have quick rotations to assist that middle if need be. EU's going to be tested first here through Art. Prowler coming his way. Smoke blocking him, but he's still standing tall here, looking for something. Maybe stayed a little too long there with that weapon. Gets caught by Clear.
And another Guardian just behind it. Nismo to take a couple of shots, but it's only damage thus far. One player falling the way of M80 puts DSG the lead, and with that, I mean, there's still a lot of time. They still have 30 seconds here on the clock. Playing around the middle part of the map means you can still make the rotations, and it seems like the call is out towards this B site. Unfortunately, Koala's still here, still a defender to worry about, and he falls off at, well, maybe one of the most awful timings as one pushes through the toxic screen. Clear dealt with. Exalt able to trade that one back, and that's what the Guardian they picked up from earlier here in the round. Unfortunately for Disguise, so they're running out of time, but M80 are running out of defenders. Now Nismo gonna try his hand as he pushes on up, finds the first, can't nab the second. And Exalt with 18 health. Gangsta, a bit worse for wear. And a very healthy steal will work against Xander. The Guardian in hand here in the 1v3. This anti-eco going poorly for M80, and the round goes the way of DSG.
Yeah, it's really a combination of DSG's ability with that slower, more methodical play style to be able to poke and prod and create pressure at different points and still have that time left over to kind of fall back once they've manipulated the rotations of their opponent. But what I will say is I didn't really like how M80 overstayed their welcome on that aggressive angle on Art with a Guardian. That's just not the weapon that's really going to get it done when you're getting swarmed by a bunch of people at close range. It just felt like the wrong weapon choice to kind of play that aggressive. I think that DSG was able to really expose that and then just bounce back to B and eventually overwhelm Quad Noob, who just had a Marshall in the back halls.
And this really shakes things up. The economy An awful spot as once more aggression, name of the game. Fragment can go out, flash to follow. Koala dashes in, dealt with almost immediately as Exalt
One enemy remaining.
happily grabbed their second. Steel also gonna hop his way into the kill feed, and John Cutie against the world here in round 3. It's not looking great. I don't think they are, M80 are gonna quite find the outcome they were hoping.
No. I mean, this is one of those rounds that was kind of a foregone conclusion. I mean, when you get wrecked like that in round 2 and you're forced to take that full save, there's really not much you can do but just gamble push or gamble stack and hope for the best. In this situation, they tried to make the big push up A, but DSG was well prepared for it, able to handle those frags, no problem. They wound up taking the flawless here to go up 2-1 early, but money now back for M80, so that means full rifles across the board and an operator available for Koala Noob to allow him to maybe be more of that just kind of strong anchor on B and free up M80 to be a bit more aggressive elsewhere on the map. But you can tighten it up because obviously losing that second round was not really the start they were looking for.
No, not at all. Like you said, the over-aggression in round 2 punished. And that just bleeds into round 3 here in favor of DSG, where we get a different Viper wall out towards B. Not going to be the area the DSG want to play around. It's been all A. It seems like they just want to try and match this aggression that they're expecting from M80. In the last couple of rounds, they got it. This time, nobody home. It's a bit more measured approach here from the defense.
Yeah, again, just kind of trusting in Koala Noob to kind of solo B for now with that long-range angle with the operator. Trying to play a little bit closer out in middle. Owl Drone going out, putting some pressure on Exalt, kind of forcing him back and getting a little bit of info. But at the same time, Nismo not looking to overstay his welcome, starting to draw back. He's getting EU for assistance now. Trying to play maybe a bit of a bait and switch on the door. All command coming out, though that really pushes EU back.
Forces him all the way back, but it's right into the welcome arms here of Nismo, who will look to find the first, but it's Exalt. The Nanoswarm will keep the rest of the team at bay. The operator's now here, and Zip, unfortunately, is not. The res comes through, and Exalt punished 2 times in the round. No way, Koala got another. Some way, somehow, and a beautiful recon bolt will secure the round for M80.
Yeah, that was really well managed by M80. I mean, yeah, sure, they're getting really pushed back on the null command. It basically takes EU out of the situation for a moment, but really great work from Nismo to immediately get down Exalt, and then that freed up Koala Noob to bring the operator over and start hell battling in B-Link, and then EU could start to kind of find his way back into the fight. So really good team play there from M80 to absorb that B-Link pressure and handle it effectively. That'll tie things back up at 2 apiece. Both teams still fully bought out. Only alt on the board is going to be Koala Noob, but it's going to be reserved because he's got the operator. No one really that close on DSG to an alt yet, except for Gangsta. One would get him the Nightfall for a good site take. Maybe they might look to challenge for that Aord to be able to do just that. But as it stands, we got a little bit of a pause. It's kind of early days, so not too much to hash out here just yet.
No, yeah, I would, if Koala was doing that to me in B-Link, I'd also punch a hole in my monitor. So I get it. Probably swapping the monitor. So he's looking at 2 people, and he gets one of them before dying. His 3rd kill on the round. That is, I mean, that's cause for a smashed keyboard or something.
Yeah, it's good to see him get the op fired up that quickly in this game. Again, I mean, M80 certainly dropped the ball in round 2, but at least recovered pretty nicely after they got their economy back to keep things at even at 2 apiece. Again, this map, Pearl, is a map that's been kind of a mixed bag for M80. It's really hard to read where they're at on this because they've only played it twice, and once was a loss to kind of an underdog team, and then once was a win, but again, kind of under one of the weaker teams in the league. We haven't really seen them play one of the more quality squads on Pearl, and as they come into this with a 1-1 record, it's just kind of hard to pinpoint where M80 stands. Meanwhile, when you look at the skies, you know, a little bit more time on this map, have won all 5 games they've played on it, including beating 3 of the teams that are in this league. So they have a little bit, I guess, more of a proven resume, you could say, on Pearl. But again, honestly, I think that's more due to just M80 not having the officials on record for us to be able to look at, because they are just such a new team that didn't play in qualifiers and didn't play in any of the kind of like smaller events at the beginning of the year. They really just kind of focused up on preparing for challengers, and so they were kind of shrouded in mystery in that regard. But we kind of just knew by looking at their roster on paper that they were going to be a force to be reckoned with, just based on what some of these guys were doing individually last year, whether it was, the Ghost core that makes this team up, or how effective Xander was as a controller over at version 1. or you know, EU being one of the best initiators last year in VCT. Playing for NRG, and honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that Crashies exist, he'd probably still be there because he is that good to be playing in the partnered league, like no doubt about it. But filler now no longer required. Let's get into it.
It's every week for Dust. He gets his hand on an EU matchup, and it does not cease. EU is a beast. EU is a beast in his own right, and
to be fair, I've been saying that since day one. Like
that is true.
I've been a day one supporter of the quality of play he brings to the table. But let's see here. DSG is looking to load up fast at B. They're got way deep too of pillars.
And this is their own smoke, by the way. They're gonna push right through that. Star down, no, and a gravity well from Xander will find Exalt 6 feet under that robot back to the factory. And unfortunately, that was your spike carrier. Steel also gonna get taken off to spam through. It's a bit too far forward here on the front foot for DSG. They just want to continue to test this angle. They want to keep trying, and they're playing to contact short, but they're losing every single one of them, and Koala will continue to make sure of it.
Flashy will take the lead. DSG, though, still able to full buy, but those credits are very vulnerable now. If they lose this, they're saving, and that's where M80 can start building up a pretty big lead on this defense.
Bring them down.
It's that same A aggression here from DSG. Once more expecting it from M80. Nobody home, though, in this A site. Relatively vacant. A couple of occupants. They're at the leasing office. Let's see if this is a place that they want to stay, and it does seem that Koala Noob and EU will call this place home for now. They back themselves away. DSG also doing the same. And you see the anticipation, right? That something is going to happen out towards B long because of this wall we see from John Cutie. So clear. Posted up on the opposite side of the map, and DSG. They work mid once more. This is the DSG way.
I mean, this is just the clearest default that you're ever going to play on Pro, right? You're kind of leaving some presence on the extremities of the map, but you're looking to get a little bit of mid control, but you got to choose which one is it going to be. Is it going to be Art or is it going to be B-Link? Seems like B-Link is what's being tested right now, but Nismo trying to counter it there with the fragment as he backs up into the spawn area, kind of swats them away. It makes them pivot to the Art side. Well, this is where the operator of Koala Noob resides, and this is where things get interesting.
Oof.
Oh, that timing, bro.
The timing just narrowly missed. I don't know who survived there. Was it Koala or was it Dip? By the way, both still alive. That shot misses, uncharacteristic. And Koala Noob was dealt with. The operator down as Exalt wants some more. This is the playmaker, and he's done it for 2. But he's traded out with the spike planted. Gangsta backs away, licking his wounds, and he might not even make it to safety as if decapitated. Long-range shots from EU. And M80 have already worked their way onto this site. Steal completely unexpected, and John Cutie happy to close out the round. M80 grow their lead to 2.
I mean, here's the thing, like, you can give some praise to DSG on how they handled that attack. They threw a really big feint at B, putting a lot of pressure on Nismo, immediately pivoted to Art for an A split. They got the Opper off the site, and then they set up some pretty good little, like, crossfires on the post plant, but to M80's credit, they come in with some incredible team play. Like, they're always in the perfect position to get their own trades off in this situation. As you see them kind of move past Exalt. As they come in, they're there to respond with their own efficient trading. They were just a little bit more efficient that round. I think that's the key premise. And that puts them up 4-2. DSG, though, with that spike plant, is able to put through a buy here, though it does mean a Bulldog for Gangsta. Have a couple of ults in play as well.
In the economy, surprisingly for DSG, right after winning that anti-eco, going flawless into round 3, it's been good. It's unfortunate they haven't been able to find the results. This will be one of the last couple of buys that they probably have should they lose this round. So a complete reset on the horizon.
Right. I think the biggest thing that happened there was that their player Art didn't get into position quick enough to have that crossfire with his closet player. Like, he just happened to get caught on his way transitioning, and that made the world of difference. But now we see lockdown being used on A to put the pressure there, but it could just be a fake. They may not even really look to split it. They could still go B-Link, but as it stands, they are looking to attack Art and split this A site, at least for now.
Cosmic Divide out just behind, so no bullets through. But utility aplenty as Exalt takes the first duel and he wins it again. Exalt really having himself a game here on Pearl. That Hunter Shuri goes through. It splits the uprights for shots 2 and 3. And John Cutie trying to clear his corners. Well, he's met by clear. Exalt looks to get aggressive on the opposite side of the pit, which is going to keep M80 at bay for now. An operator that does not want to get into the mix. The spam on through. Exalt dealt with. Gangsta maybe next up. Low HP on both the Fade and the Viper here as the spam is through, and it looked good. Unfortunately, on the opposite side of the wall was clear. That pit still stands, and the rest of the members for M80 can't quite say the same. Steel plays the backstab here. If they don't find the kill on this Astra, these weapons won't be going into the next round. Nismo gonna creep on up. There's the next. Now it's the operator. Koala, are you good for it here? Of course he is. The dash away, but stays within range of the spike and loses the op and the round.
Yeah, that's a tough one. He definitely wanted to be dashing away from that to keep the op in play this next round, but he still has the credits to buy it, so it's not the end of the world. But what you saw there was just kind of like a textbook, well-drilled out execute from the IGL. It's that combination of the lockdown, the push the defense back. You then trap him behind the Cosmic Divide to kind of force them to stay back for even longer, allowing you to deploy that Viper's Pit. So it's just like that perfect ult combination that kind of gets you around. But yeah, it's a huge cost to be able to do that, right? 3 ults spent just to get that one round. But it was really well orchestrated.
And it is aggression finally out towards A main for M80. 2 players push that way, not Koala. Koala's kind of been on B duty, right? And hey, you push up aggressively and see what you can get for it. It's completely taken late rotations off the board for this DSG squad as we get that same 0 point out towards the spawn. It'll find John Cutie.
Toxin screen down.
Ooh, and this might be where Koala Noob actually is going to get tested for the first time on this recipe angle. He spots a barrel, he gets his frag, and he's going to be able to get out of there. He even has a toxic screen that could provide a little bit of coverage if he needs it, but he's just kind of slowly backpedaling. Prowler will clear up close, but Koala's already done his job and got the heck out of there. Now this hit gets way harder for DSG being a man down, and all commands spent to try to help him.
And Koala saves the dash, unfortunately won't be able to use it here. Haunt goes out, fragments keep the jet at bay. The shot goes wide once more. Meanwhile, out towards mid, bodies are starting to drop, and it's not looking good for DSG as it's all up to the IGL. He'll take 1 of 4, but 3 still stand. And M80 will find a 5th.
It's one of those situations where they just did not have the trade potential on that first exchange. Like, Koala Noob was able to get his outshot off and just literally walk away. Didn't even have to dash out of there. There was really no immediate response from DSG. They decided to force the attack anyway because that's the only map presence they really had was, you know, B-Link and through long. Try to get that null command used to kind of make things a little bit more difficult for Koala Noob. But when M80 rotates into B-Link, they win almost every battle there, right? And this gets them those overwhelming numbers to close the round. And that's what M80 is just so good at. Their team play in those little tight situations to know when to peak, to, you know, make sure that the spacing's perfect for trading. They're just, again, efficiency, I think, is the key word for M80 all the time. And it's because they can get fragging from almost any role on this team.
And when you take a look at that last round specifically, right, round 8, where you see where Koala's playing, now DSG know exactly where Koala's playing. So where does the util start, right? Where do you have to hide behind a wall to then start throwing out the turret peaks, the prowlers, right, the flashes? It's basically from your spawn. The way that M80 has just been able to corral this DSG squad. They've essentially been giving up mid in fighting for A main and fighting for B main. And then, like you said, they just win every single fight that goes that way.
Yeah, they seemingly when it comes to rounds where there's not a big utility difference, like, for example, where DSG spent 3 ults on an A attack, which got them the dub, when it's come down to just like the more basics, it does seem like M80's just been a step ahead in the trading game. And a lot of that's because Koala Noob's been able to find some opening picks, but it's also just been because how players are responding in B-Link area. Like, defensively, M80's been very strong in B-Link.
And they mix it up. They say, hey, we're playing the A main, we're playing the B main this time. We want to try and play mid, and they've got the op on the angle. Fortunately, a Nebula smoke from Steel will actually allow Koala to stay on this angle with the dash available. This operator just continues to ring here. We've seen aces in this position, and of course Koala wants it, but EU takes it away. Of course it's EU to do it.
No, I'm an EU fan, but I am going to have to smite him for that one a little bit, man. Let your man get the ace, all right? He's out there. He's hungry. And yeah, it's an eco, but, you know, still some fancy fighting from Koala Noob here, just using his dash perfectly. A great follow-up third on the steal. Definitely some flashy aim in that, despite it being the eco. They also now have 4 ults on the board on the M80 side, some of which could be very strong for just holding a position on the map and giving freedom for other players to rotate that Viper Spit or putting it to use in some type of retake situation. I mean, Koala's just a freak, dude. Look at this.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's everywhere on the map. I think he's picked every angle at least at one point in this half. Oh my god. And he's got the support though from EU, so it's not even that risky.
Yeah, a bit delayed in that push from Art, but yeah, eventually there would have been a trade should it have been needed. Cosmic Divide though trying to split this site. Another shot missed from Koala, but he's been good for it all. Now we'll go up and top the box here and try and make a play. It's Exalt to trade out a kill onto Nismo, a Resible robot. But it doesn't seem likely. Next unclear. Now they're trying to work their way onto the site. They'll have to do it through a Nebula smoke, and Xander just sprays him down. M80 just on top of everything here on Pearl.
I mean, that's just so awesome to see Nismo use Null Command to be able to go out there as kind of like bait, knowing that he can get rezzed. And then that frees up Kwanu to be able to go through with the Blade Storm and find himself a frag. Meanwhile, you've already gotten the opening pick at mid. You've already been able to stick EU essentially an attacker spawn and cut off the rotation from the flanker. And then at that point, you're just crunching B because you got the numbers. I mean, again, it's just the efficiency from M80. It's a team that you can tell has put in a ton of time to build their protocols and to kind of build their little set pieces and to make sure that everyone's on the same page.
And it seems you almost want to kind of chalk it up to bad luck, right? Ziff's on that angle. Koala Noob's pushing it. But when you take a peek at it, right, EU was pushing through Art the whole time, so they know that nobody's market. If they're trying to lurk out towards mid, they have to be up top mid. And that's exactly what happened. So Koala just continuing to wreak havoc, this time out towards A main. Won't get any value for it. Last time on the Ecos, we saw 4 kills with the operator. We'll see how much they can find here as Nismo splits the team. Koala gonna be good for 1. The rest of M80 finding their way into the kill feed. And Steel. Oh, I think one of the only times we've seen Steel. Last one alive. It's only with 7 HP. It's only with the Frenzy. It's just incredibly daunting here.
Yeah, not much he could really do there. But again, M80 just such good team play on that anti-eco. They have Kwanu covering long a solo. EU is able to kind of hold a forward angle on Art, get that intel, fade back drone, continue to get information on the push. He gets that rotation from Nismo to drop the fragment on the entry point. And then again, they're just running DSG through a blender at that point where they have 3 people ready to go, knowing that long A is safe. They could just focus their full attention on the short side, and now they're up 8-3 with 1 round left to play in the half, and they still have 2 ults available for this final round.
Bring them down.
I'm wondering where we see, or if we see that pit of Steel.
He's a
Okay.
freak. I said it earlier. The man's a freak. He's one of the most aggressive jets in this league.
And he just doesn't get punished for it, right? Who is going to be that team, unfortunately, here on the defensive side of Pearl against the attacking side of Pearl for DSG? They're not the team to do it. John Cutie takes a life with him, tosses down a snake bite, looks to grab some more. Ziff finally finding his footing here on the server, and it's all up to Koala. Talked about him before. Exalt's trapped in the corner. No more to worry about. Through the smoke he goes, and I don't want to say it again, but Koala is doing freaky things here. Just needs one more. Has the angle. Oh my god, Koala keeps doing it.
Tanner, I'm gonna let you know a little secret here. All right, just between you and me, okay?
Yep. Mics are muted.
Yeah, there's no way NAB should have won that round.
Nope.
Like, the moment that John Q decided to force the issue off his snake bite inside B Link and dies to Ziff, and then Ziff catches another coming through the other side, that should be good half 8-4. But nah. Your man Koala Noob, just an absolute unit of a human, comes through and clutches that thing up in the end. 1 versus 3, I believe it was. That's just ludicrous when you're getting away with that on top of all the like more fine-tuned team play you saw throughout the course of the half, and then now you get the individual antics from Kwanu to be like the exclamation mark at the end of a very bold statement of a first half, man. Like 9-3. That's a big one.
And
again, that was between just me and you, but no one else.
Right, yeah. Now we're back.
Yeah.
Production mics are hot again. When you look at where we're at right here, you would almost think, you know, if you slow down Koala Noob, that's how you beat M80. But nobody's been able to do that. We've yet to see that. I think that this comp for DSG should thrive here on the defense. I don't know if it's going to be Exalt by himself here, falling asleep on the angle. Can Koala just to do it again, completely seized up. The guy's got no health dust, and he does it again in the pistol.
I mean, again, I don't know how else to describe it other than that he's just a literal freak. He just does things that other people aren't doing. I will say, in that particular situation, the first duel was just a heads-up battle. He wins, but he beat the timing on that first batch of utility with that dash. He kind of got a little bit ahead of it and was able to get a second frag because of it. The third one was bonkers, though. Like, the third one, I don't know how that happens. He's just a guy. And there's Deuce. He's been looking for
give it
all
to him.
game. He's finally gotten it.
He's finally gotten it. He has to push aggressively by himself, make sure that EU is nowhere near. And eventually, Koala allowed the investor ace. And like you said, yeah, just beat
that timing. Yeah.
The thing is, though, is I want to give props, right? The C's, the immediate double tap from Gangsta, understanding, whoa, this dude just dashed on top of me. I need to put the C's down right now. Had he let that go, Koala completely beats it. Now, it didn't matter at the end of the day, unfortunately. But, you know, Gangsta did things. Koala just did them better.
Again, just beats the timing big time, and now they're going to have the weapons advantage to start pushing closer and closer to map point here on the pick of Pearl. I believe this was DSG's pick as well.
And show me the OR team that beat M80 on this map. Show me. Back it up.
Yeah.
Back it up.
It's getting to be that time. We're starting to move towards that moment. Granted, this was around that you couldn't really expect much from Disguise. They don't really have anything invested into it. It's just kind of the repercussions of losing the pistol. But looking like M80's about to waltz into a pretty easy 11th round. They're clearing the side of the map that is very much empty. So they're going to very easily get a free plant here in a moment. There's just not really any retake power for DSG right now with the utility and weapons they have on the board.
They're really only hoping to do some economic damage. Some aggressive forces here in the Vandals. Flash comes through, sees right behind it. Koala's just so good on the timing. EU this time will help him out. It is going to eventually end in that investor flawless for M80. They're second on the game. Koala now has his blades online. Vandals still fully intact here for M80. These guys are going to be backs against the wall. This is the best time, though, to start this comeback, right? 11 to 3.
Well, it has to be now. I mean, without this, your credits are in the can, and your opponents are at that point. So this is now or never, essentially. Looking like we're going to see a little bit of activity at A lobby early from both sides based on these Astra Stars.
Gravity wells both ways. Oh, no way. Koala hitting a bit outside of himself. Thought he can make a play through Art solo. He does not account for Zip's position. So that's the raid boss down. This is DSG now in a comfortable spot here. A player ahead. Nismo backs away. They got to clear their way all the way through their spawn with 2 to positive inside A main.
I like
not
the
out of the
theory
woodworks
of that.
just yet, but
Like,
it's a
they
good
knew
start.
that they were kind of forcing those players back into A site right to his arms through Art. But yeah, like you said, just didn't calculate for Zip's position. But EU, he's found a pick on the steal. He's even things back up. Gangsta, though, is very quick to respond. Xander trying to do the same, but not able to quite land the shots there. Granted, he is only on a Stinger. Able to at least kind of use a Nebula there to be able to pick the Vandal up. So they had 3 rifles going into B against just a solo defender of Clear. And his rotation's pretty far off, man. So there's still a chance here for M80 to get something going.
30 seconds
At least a spike plan.
And they're calling for it right now. Clear, able to get out of dodge, fortunately. Like you mentioned, nobody here in time to stop this plant. That spike will go down. Util available for Nismo, should he want to try and play the post. Still has the fragment in hand. Meanwhile, out towards mid, they're going to clear their way through Link. And all 3 players of M80 Gonna take their positions here. Gangsta shows himself once more with util in hand, and he's met by John Cutie. Frank to stop the push onto the side as the flash comes through. Exalt unfortunately did not connect onto Nismo with that in the Nebula. Block the angles here. Complete concealment, and now the 1v1 to commence, and it's Nismo out on top. Will finally get his time to shine. It's the nail in the coffin just about here on Pearl.
Yeah, that was really well done by M80 to take such firm control of B-Link. They know that no one's there, so they realize that everyone has to be coming through heaven or low side. And once they figured that out, Nismo and John Cutie able to run them through the blender. I don't think DSG was expecting them to all be holding from that spot. They probably anticipated at least one guy was back halls or, you know, way deep long B or something like that, so they would get maybe a little bit more room to work, but that was not the case. M80 never let them really cross the threshold of the site. And now M80's at map point here.
And Nabaya's, as you would expect for DSG, clear once more, playing the jump peaks, this time a bit closer, and once more find his way off the site, this time a bit healthier.
Jesus.
In doing so as Koala. I mean, this guy's on a solo mission. He's playing a different game. This is not 5v5 tactical shooter. This is a single player game that Koala's playing. And this guy is about to 100% it. He's getting all the trophies here.
To be fair, there was a lot of utility that helped him get into heaven safely there, so that was a little bit more pre-planned than just Koala throwing a haymaker into heaven. But I like how he retreats back pretty quickly here. He's going to get some coverage from the smoke, but Exalt still finds a frag.
Exalt to be the one that slows him down. However, Nismo and EU just battle back almost immediately. There's not a moment of respite here for DSG as they work their way back onto this site. Tagged up and taken down, and if you blinked, you missed it. Map one's over. It goes the way of M80.
Yeah, there was a brief period of time at the very beginning of the game where it was a little bit back and forth, and I think a lot of that was due to the fact that M80 just dropped the ball in round 2 and lost an eco. But after that, once they got their credits back, I don't think they really lost another round. Like, they lost 2 in a row, rounds 2 and 3. They lost 1 more, but ultimately dominated the game, right? And honestly, if they don't lose that second round, this very easily could have been like a 13-2 game or something like that. Like, this was just M80 all day. They always seem to step ahead.
Yeah, and honestly, that second round seemed kind of like the barometer of whose day is it for M80. EU, he hangs out, gets a little too aggressive, gets punished for it, they lose that round. EU, at that point, it seems like he steps down from the throne and he says, hey guys, it's not my day. It's somebody else. It's somebody else. It's their time to shine here on Pearl. And it was Koala Noob. And what hurts the most is when there's literally nothing else we can do here on the desk dust except for watch Koala Noob just run everybody down. It's hard, right? Especially when you're trying to find moments, a light at the end of the tunnel, anything for DSG. And any time that we talked about it, Koala Noob shut it down.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where Koala is just fearless, right? And that's something that you need in an entry fragger. You need that guy who's willing to sacrifice everything to take that space. Even if he goes down, he has that confidence that people like EU and Nismo are either going to help guide him into position with utility or be there to trade when he falls, right? It just so happened today, he didn't really need a whole lot of trading from them because he was just behind the frags himself. But again, he was well supported by people who are very nearby, throwing good utility, and he caught some really good timing. So, you know, props to him because, again, it's one of those things that we've discussed on the desk pregame. M80 can get fragging from a lot of different roles on this team, and it just so happened to be that today it was Koala Noob's time to shine and just kind of take things into his own hands a lot of rounds and just push it as much as he could. And, I mean, he got away with everything, basically.
Got away with everything. A pretty strict diet of eucalyptus for Koala now. Toast on the menu. So starting to balance out this diet is Koala Noob and M80 as a whole. But I am still expecting a 3-map series. Obviously, the first one does not go the way of the Sky's Toast. And now they just have to rest and refit and try and reset as we set our eyes on Haven here in map 2. And it'll be right after this.
Do you want to ask your favorite player a question after their match? Or get their in-game settings? The Fan Zone encompasses fan banners, a player settings channel, and a lot more. Here's how you can join to gain access to interact with fellow fans, cheer on your favorite team. Firstly, join the Discord at pks.gg/discord. Select NA Challengers Fan Zone. Pick your favorite team from the drop-down menu. And don't forget to show off that banner in Discord and on your socials. And that's it. You're in. You can now interact with fellow fans, ask player questions, and rep your team properly.
To some, this is nothing more than cardboard and ink. But to those who know, these are precious metals, rare gems. A full set it took 15 years to complete. Low-pop rookies, hypnotizing hollows. One of only a handful in the universe. Or an heirloom to look after for the next generation. No matter what you collect, raw or graded, to have and to hold or to crush your opponents with, what matters is that it's real. Introducing eBay's Authenticity Guarantee for trading cards. Our third-party authenticators inspect every detail of your card and compare it to the listing to make sure it's the real deal or no deal. Because we know just how much your collection means to you.